Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's meeting for the Board of Trustees.
Everyone turn on their microphone.
For our Liberty Lake Municipal Library. Can you hear me? Yes, I think you can hear me. Okay, so, is Bob,
He's
in? Is he?
I'm here.
Hi, Bob.
Hi,
Oh, there you go. How you doing?
good.
That's good. All right. So, I'll take roll real quick. I can see that everybody's here, but we'll do it officially. Kim?
Here.
Shauna?
Here.
Bob?
Here.
Okay, and Teresa?
Here.
Yeah, and Jandy's here.
Yes.
So,
Mark's there.
okay. I don't have to take roll on Mark. He kind of, he's here.
Want him to feel
He's here
included.
most of the time, which is great, but there are some times when I know there's some probably city business that, we can't always make it, but I'm glad that they will make it almost every time. All right, so, did everyone have a chance to review the meeting minutes? So I could have a motion to, end the agenda. We'll do them both together, and approve both the, meeting minutes from last meeting and then the agenda for now.
I move to approve the meeting minutes and the agenda.
Okay,
Second.
okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor of approving those two items, say aye.
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 Thank you. And we're good. Jandy, do we have any people online? We do, good. So welcome to those people who are online, and so I will open the floor to anyone who might have citizen comments, and I'll let Jandy outline the requirements for that participation.
Okay, so if you'd like to make a citizen comment, please raise your hand or send me a message in the chat and I'll turn the time over to you. You'll have 3 minutes to make a comment. Okay, I think we're good.
All right, good. So now we will move on to our reports, and Mark, you're up first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know that I have a lot to report. I'll just make mention of a couple of things to keep everybody at the table kind of informed. We're maybe 3/4 of the way through our survey window for the 2024 Community Satisfaction Survey. This will be a tool that we'll use every year to help us validate our performance against our strategic plan. And so where we are now is on the 20th of this month, we will be going back to the Community Engagement Commission and talking about any additional desire to continue to promote response. Because we have a response of probably about 27% at this point. And so any future efforts, we'll just continue to talk about what kind of a cost benefit are of continuing to do that. Regardless, we'll be using those results to make some initial reports to the city council on our performance against our strategic plan. So that's just kind of a general update on that. Another one that may have some more specific tie-in to the Board of Trustees is we are in the process of recruiting and interviewing for our new Public Works Director. And the reason that has some tie into the board is because the Public Works Director ultimately will be the one responsible for delivering our capital improvement program, which includes the reconstruction of the new library and some other things. And so obviously we want to get the right person in. We would like to get that person in as quickly as possible, but we're more interested in getting the right person in because we have some really important projects that are coming down the pipeline, including the library. And so we want that individual to be ready to come in, hit the ground running, and work with the executive team to focus on accomplishing all of our goals and objectives. And then the other big update I would have, I guess just mention that it's farther down on your agenda today, which is to talk about the RFP for the construction manager for the library build-out project. So that's the extent of, I think, my report. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I have a question. So
Sure.
on the survey that you sent out, you got a 27% response so far. When I was a young person, I worked in the tourism industry and I took a class and they talked about when someone's unhappy, how many more people hear people's unhappy complaints than hear compliments for a tourism business or for a service that you offer. So in the responses that you get from a survey like this, is it more likely that people who are unhappy will respond than people who are satisfied with this job the city is doing?
Potentially, you always have kind of those embedded variables in there, which is part of the reason why you kind of set the sample scientifically to help eliminate as much of that as possible. But you always have those kinds of considerations in there. What I will say is, as we're looking over the results to date, I don't want to get into specifics because I don't want to potentially taint the rest of the sample, but the trends that we're seeing are about what we expected to see. And so once we get to the place where whether we have additional response or we have what we have, they're valid responses because they're people's opinions, right? The question is whether we're going to get to a place where we can, through statistical validation, be able to make some definitive statements.
Right, and when I was a teacher, someone would say, well, parents aren't happy. Well, we have 500 sets of parents at our school. Is that one set of parents that's not happy about bus pick up in the afternoon, or is that, what? So I just that's always in my mind of, who's squawking the loudest or.
The survey, from what I saw, the survey is almost like a behavior rating scale. And it has multiple questions, but you can't just singularly pick one issue that you have a problem with, because then it'll ask a similar question like on the next page. So you know what I'm saying? Like it'll ask multiple questions throughout the whole thing. So it's kind of hard to be like, I am a single issue problem here. So it's pretty good at figuring it out.
Yeah, I just hope it's really good data and not,
So Mark, you were hoping for a higher return, correct? To reach that, statistical validation.
How much time do we have? So you would always like to be able to, and the standard is the 95% confidence interval. That's what we're targeting. Because really what that allows us to do is say, with a pretty high degree of certainty, if I go out and I randomly select somebody, their answer is represented in the average here, right? The fewer responses you get, the less confident you are in your ability to say that. It's still valid data. It's still people's responses.
Right.
Sure.
But you get less confident in your ability to say that represents the average answer.
Right.
And so we would like to get closer, obviously, to that 95%, but whether we get there or not, we'll see. And that's kind of the conversation that we're queuing up for the Community Engagement Commission to consider is, do we want to continue to spend budgeted funds to try to get more response, or are we comfortable where we are? What is the bang for that additional buck look like?
Right.
the other thing I think about is, how one of the differences is people who are relatively new to Liberty Lake and have chosen it after moving somewhere else, and people who have been here forever, maybe not as happy with the changes that a bigger population has brought. I mean, I think that can skew the data as well. And although of course everybody's experiences impact their responses, but it seems that difference seems to show up a lot in this area.
And those are things that you try to, yeah, those are things that you try to kind of manage through the survey methodology. And like Teresa mentioned, asking multiple questions that help you know, kind of get to core issues versus I'm really ticked off about this or that kind of thing.
As teachers, we get like a 300 or 400 questionnaire about a child's behavior.
Yes,
And they try to word it in as many different ways as
like
they
the
can to
attention
make sure.
question is asked next time.
Yeah.
Just because they're like, we want to make sure that you're not.
Really have time for this document.
Thankfully, we didn't get to 300
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
That's just one form, then you get other forms that go with that same child's
But it's very,
evaluation.
it was very thorough.
Yes.
Like, it like, well, I mean, the community engagement survey is very thorough, so. Yeah.
So Mark, how many surveys were sent out originally?
So our sample size to, and this goes back to the confidence interval I talked about. 95% confidence interval with a 3% plus or minus error margin meant that our sample size needed to be 660. So that's the number that went out.
Okay, Bob, any questions?
Nope.
I have one other question for you, and that is about the RFQ. Who will the person or the group selected for the RFQ, who will they be answering to or reporting to in regards to how they oversee the project?
So, are you asking once
Once they're selected, correct?
so once that occurs, there will be and as I mentioned earlier, if the public works director is in place, the public works director is responsible for capital program delivery.
Okay.
So that will ultimately fall under the responsibility of the public works director, and then he or she will have, you know, we have a project manager on board, that the heavy lift comes from the PM. That's kind of his daily routine, is to oversee project delivery, but it will ultimately be the responsibility of the public works director in close collaboration with Jandy and others.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, thanks for that report. Okay, so, we are going to go to the Friends of the Liberty Lake Municipal Library report. Well, that would be Kim.
Yeah,
She was
that's
the
me
only
this
one
month.
there.
That's me this month. It was a short meeting. January, February meetings are really short. They are still looking, the Friends are still looking for books needed for the book sale as always, getting ready for the soiree on July 17th. One of the things that they brought up is that they are hoping, to do a Friends podcast with the city, and I don't know if someone's been talking with who's ever in charge about that. And then, the other thing they thought would be really, awesome would be that once we present our quarterly report to the city council, that at the next Friends meeting, Jandy and we can present that to the Friends, so that so we start streamlining information that they're getting about our library. So that was pretty much it. There was, not much new business, and that was just working on the podcast, so,
Okay,
yeah.
it's good.
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right. and now-
Thank you, Kim.
Welcome.
And the city council, Shauna.
I did not get a chance to watch the replays of the meetings yet. I meant to do that last night and wasn't able to do it. So if anybody else attended those meetings or was in person, otherwise I'll give a double update next month. But it's my
I had to dig halfway through, so I didn't get to, I was just, I was in on the presentations by the, Mark, you'll have to help me with these organizations that gave their presentations at the Greater Spokane.
Greater Spokane Incorporated and Business Spokane.
Right. So they gave their presentation to the city about how they can help promote, our city and promote businesses in our city. And of course, they asked for, a fee, from the city to be able to do that. I don't know, there was supposed to be a vote later on how that occurred or what happened with that. But I had to leave right after that, so I had a full.
They were both approved.
Oh,
Yeah.
great, that's good news. It's a good thing. Okay, so, all right. So now we're on to Jandy, library report.
Okay, so, we've had a busy month at the library. Story time and all of our programs have been going really well. This month we have some Easter activities planned, one of which is not a gingerbread house, but a peat house, edible peat marshmallow house. So that's gonna be really fun. We've been doing our gardening series. We've had 2 classes since I last saw you guys. The first one, sorry, I have the names of the classes in here with this thing. The first one was our vegetable gardening class. It was on a Thursday evening and we had 31 people attend that class, which is phenomenal attendance for like our adult programs. We're very happy. And everyone really enjoyed the speaker. He was phenomenal. Our second class was just this last Saturday and it was on gardening for pollinators. And it was a Saturday morning, 11 a.m. We had 19 people attend that class. So
I was one,
yes.
and it was good.
Yes.
She did a great job.
Yes, we have the master gardeners teaching all of these classes, so they're very knowledgeable. And we've been happy with the attendance. Just like with anything, you plan something and you're like, what if no one comes?
I think that's
So-
really a cool, thing that you guys set up for, our area, the master gardeners to come in and give their presentations on these separate areas.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot about flowers around here that will attract pollinators. I do a lot on the other side, because that's where I grew up, but over here, I'm going, okay, there are some that are the same, some that are very different. So it was very interesting and very informative. I got a lot out of it, so. Very
Yes.
cool.
So I'm very pleased with Michaela coming up with this idea and then the master gardeners being willing to step in and do it with us. And she said she wasn't expecting 6 classes. So she's blown away by their willingness to share. So in April, we have 2. We have Waterwise Landscaping on April 6th. That's a Saturday, and then Raised Bed Gardening on April 25th, which is a Thursday. So those are our next 2 classes in that series. I know I've mentioned this to you guys before, but we're still working on it. We're working on purchasing a new software for our library calendar of events. We've done a lot of research and we found our favorite one on paper. And we have a demo with them next week, for them to walk us through everything. It's called LibCal, like library calendar. The thing that we're really excited about with this is that, they say they can work with Demco to migrate all of our information that we already have in the calendar over. So that will save us a lot of time. They can do things with, our meeting room reservations and our study room reservations. So patrons can go in and kind of automatically book their time. So it's not just living in my email waiting for me to like personally do it. So that's great. It can also, this new software can also do book a librarian. So a patron could go online and reserve time with me or Michaela to help them like with their Kindle or something else that they need help with. So that's another capability that it has. It also has the capability to use it with your library of things. So I'm asking them to kind of go into that a little bit more in depth with us,
Cool.
but it seems like it could be particularly helpful with our Mobius passes, where patrons could go in and automatically reserve it and then just print off a pass and take it to Mobius, so they wouldn't have to come to us. So it's one of those things where I don't know if it'll work perfectly for us, but in theory, it sounds really nice. So there's a lot of extra things that it can do. So we'll take a look further. But from talking to other directors, this software was the most affordable by far. So that's amazing too, because it's one of those things where sometimes they can like really nickel and dime you with all of those like special features. So this is supposed to be the most affordable one too. So, we're just trying to get something purchased and online working before summer reading, because that's a really busy time for staff and when we have a lot of extra programs. So we're hoping to get something, next month. And start getting it, getting everything inputted, so. Yeah.
I was curious, are you still seeing an increase of patrons coming through for the post malls?
Yes, so our story times particularly have been a lot busier. With looking at with tracking our traffic, we have Sensors as a company and different sensors that do that. In talking with them more, we think there was a bug in January, so our attendance wasn't as high as we thought it was, but it's still higher than it usually is. It's just, I'm working with them now on a ticket to pinpoint where the issue was and when to get a better sense.
So that 15,000
No.
patrons is not.
It's not.
It just seemed like it.
It seemed like it, because it was a lot busier, so they're going with me, because I can see certain data, but I can't figure out how to see it where I could see every single day for the whole month at once to figure out where there was a spike.
Oh,
Because I'm wondering if there was a spike one day where it went out or went crazy
Double
and
counting.
double counting or something. But we do know that, in January, our story time attendance was up 200, what it normally is, and that our book checkouts were up more than what they normally are. So it's like, I know that it's higher, but we're trying to pinpoint exactly how much it was.
I was just thinking,
So-
that might be something good to include in your quarterly report, just to highlight that for the region, we are the only, you know what I mean, in terms of being an open library within the CIN that's closest to Post Falls. It's just a benefit of having the library here.
Yes,
That was.
yes, for sure. So we've been having a lot more, families come over for story time and checking out books. And then a lot of people have been sending all of their holds to us, at Liberty Lake since Post Falls is closed. So we're just trying to identify how much higher it was,
Yeah.
accurately.
Yeah, it could be added to that 2024 slide.
Yes.
2024, oh, yeah.
Well, and even if you just include the story time attendance alone, you don't even need to put in a sensor, but that alone. And
Yes.
then even the anecdotal stuff about the partner.
Yes,
That's not. normal.
It shows the need is larger. right?
Yeah, exactly, especially in
Yes.
the region.
so the other thing I wanted to show you guys, I sent it over just earlier today, so I don't know how many of you have seen it yet. Let me find the message. So the state library is doing a Zoom conference and they're inviting, a librarian and then a board of trustees member to attend it together. It's on Zoom and it's called the Library Advocacy and Funding Conference Opportunity. So let me read you just a little blurb on it. So it says, we're developing this conference to help library staff, advocates, foundation or friends groups, and associations navigating the world of politics in order to build real support for library funding. And since we're looking at trying to fund a new library building, I thought this could be really helpful. But it's for libraries who are going out to like a bond in 5 to 10 years is someone who could attend. They'll have campaign and election experts. If you're trying to advocate for libraries at the state or local level, they're bringing in lobbying and community organization experts to help you build the political power and influence that you need to move your funding agenda forward. And then if you're looking for new revenue streams and fundraising tactics, you'll get the opportunity to hear from funders and fundraisers alike who can help you learn to navigate the philanthropic world. So it's in July, it's the 24th through the 26th, but it's all virtual. And they're looking for, I'm thinking it's going to be quite tailored to you because right now they're just looking for 5 volunteers out of the whole state. So it would be a library director and then a board member from your library and there's just gonna be like 10 people there, so. I want you guys to look at that and see if it's something you think would be helpful for us with this new library project or not.
I think
So,
that's it's a great opportunity. I'll be in Boston for work that week, so.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm still digesting
no, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I shouldn't say I'm not sure. I think anytime you can get information about funding and the sources of funding and stuff like that. We do not put things out, or we haven't put things out. We're not a library district, so we haven't put things out to bond or have to ask for a levy. But we do have to, present our case to the council
Mhm.
for funding of the library. So it could be helpful in understanding how to negotiate that, or I should say, I didn't mean to say negotiate, I meant to navigate that particular situation. So be helpful there, I would think.
I think it's useful too, so if nobody else wants to do it, I'll do it with you. I feel like there are more politically savvy people on the board of trustees than I am, but I'd say sign us up and then.
Yeah, I would like to attend, I just don't know.
Yeah.
July is the only. month
July's a
that I
tricky
don't
month
have
for-
anything.
Yeah, that was my only
So it's
hesitation.
with that. My son doesn't have any activities.
Yeah, July's the trickiest month, I feel like. Right now, they're just looking for people to say they're interested in. It's not a set in stone, absolutely 100%. So if we think we're interested,
Yeah.
I'll let them know that.
Tell them that, yes.
It sounds like a great opportunity.
Yes. Okay.
What do you think, Bob?
I think just tell them we're interested, but no commitment.
Yes. Okay, sounds great.
Okay, anything else, Jandy?
I think that's everything I have for now about this.
Did you want to say anything about the two people that were recognized?
Oh, thank you, thank you.
That's pretty
Well,
special.
I told Kim, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, this is pretty special, I think. In fact, I think it's really special. Go ahead.
So we had our Washington State Library Association conference the first week of March. And Michaela, our teen and adult librarian, and Erin, our children's associate, were honored as so it was the Children and Youth Award for Visionary Library Services to Youth. And it's out of everyone in the whole state.
Yay.
So our librarians in Liberty Lake are amazing. The state says so.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So we were very pleased. They had like a big luncheon. They were able to bring their families. They gave them an award on the stage. So
Oh, nice.
it's a huge compliment to them and their dedication, and also looks good for us at the city that we have amazing children and youth.
Well, I think there's a lot of things about that is really kind of special. Too, they got recognized for their work, but they also have to have some leadership and direction, and that comes from you, to work on the things that we want to present in our library. And I think it's a recognition for the entire library staff. Those two women were certainly recognized, rightfully so, because of all the programming that they provide for the young adults and the children is amazing, and the number of kids that are involved, I think it's really cool. So, I hope we have a plan, at the city level to recognize them as well, than at their organization. So I think it's important for the city to recognize them as well.
Put that out on social media and, maybe make something to hang in the library so patrons can see.
I think those are both great ideas. I have it in our slideshow for, the council meeting.
Yep.
But yes, we can definitely put something on our social media and,
And do we have a picture of just those two that we can put
We don't have one with their awards, but we can make them
Let's
take
get-
one.
let's get
So I,
Yes.
Jaddy, would it be okay, you can tell me to be quiet at any time, but I was gonna ask, if Mark, if there's any way that we could, recognize these two women at the city council, level, because we recognize a lot of people for their work and their efforts, and reward them. I was hoping there might be a way we could do that.
That's a fantastic idea, and we can easily add that to the city administrator's report and make sure that we give them proper recognition.
Being
Can you see
honored
the
again.
details?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
We're so excited.
Yes.
Yeah, it is very cool. So,
Yeah.
all right, so, that's the end of your report, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're on to the quarterly report. Can you put it up here?
Yes.
And then you could show us what you guys have been working on? I mean, I've looked at it, and it looks pretty, you guys have done a great job.
Jandy, mostly. I
Yeah.
was in Arizona last week.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, well, Jandy, you've done a nice job.
I
Yeah.
went through it for the meeting and I tried to make all of the changes.
Okay,
So I'm just downloading the new.
will you be able to see this, Bob, on your screen?
Yes.
I should be able to.
Okay,
I had the original one, but she probably changed the typo I caught.
I think I did. I think I
Let's
did.
see if I have the same one you caught.
Okay, so quarterly report. Page 1, our
Yeah, you-
typo, we have typo on visitors.
Yeah, you
Is
caught
that-
it.
So we're gonna start out with our 2023 statistics. We'll have our much more in-depth one to them in June. But this is all of our, I've showed you guys all these numbers. Kim's suggestion that we're going to add, that I'm gonna go home and add is doing a comparison table right here, which will show the 22 numbers versus the 2023 numbers. So I'm sure
That's a great.
that will be their next question, and Kim pointed that out.
And what percent of an increase that is?
Yes,
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
because if you remember, our visitors are up 12, was up about 12,500.
yeah.
And then our checkouts, I think, were up. They were like at 90 and now it's 107, so 17,000 maybe. So,
Your visitor's typo is still there in that one.
yes. So we'll do a comparison table and then we'll go into our window project. Cause you know, I can't shut up about our new windows and how amazing they are. The first picture shows like how cloudy they are. I don't know how well you can tell on the screen, but that first window is like a comparison.
Yeah.
And then there's of all of the new windows here. And then, invite them to come by the library and check it out.
Those tinted windows make a huge difference in there. It's really, I mean, it is, yeah, it's really cool.
Yes, some of the staff members were just mentioning like, is your sad time of year, your seasonal affective disorder, and they're like, I feel like these windows have like greatly
Oh, that's good.
like contributed, like that we feel so much better because it doesn't feel so dark and gloomy in the library.
Nice.
So we have a blinds company tomorrow to like give us a bid. Brian's working on that, so eventually we will have blinds that can go up and down for those super bright times of year, like July at 3 p.m. when it's just like a sauna in there. But we are planning to keep them open as much as possible. And then we have our award winners, Michaela and Erin. And then we'll have our public comment at the board meeting, to present to them our changes. I talked to Kelsey, gonna send out, the red lines, so they'll have it on Friday, so they'll have it before the meeting. But I guess after that, we'll just,
But yeah, I wanted to ask Mark since he's here. Again, okay, so Mark, at the last meeting, there was concern about having things on the agenda that they have to act on that particular day. Would it be appropriate or should we for them to be able to approve our approval or should we wait and give them an opportunity to look it over before we ask them to vote on approving the policy?
So the discussion that took place, at the workshop last time, and there was no formal action taken, but I think as a principle, we would want to maintain that, and what we were driving at is that we didn't want to have a report produce an extra agenda decision. And so in whatever context. And so I think generally we want to avoid bringing a report to the council that causes them to vote to do something if that something isn't on the agenda as an action item. That is kind of what we were driving at. So if this falls into that category, I would say move it to another agenda.
And I
So
don't think it's our
we're-
job to make agenda items, it's our job to share the changes that we've suggested.
Got it. No, what I'm saying is that maybe we need to show this, and we need to talk about it, but I think what we need to ask at that time is for them to put it on their action items for the next
Yes.
council meeting to act on our proposal.
Yeah, in this
So-
case, you're making a recommendation.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it, okay. That's what I was trying to clear up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And, Brad,
Yeah,
then I think what you could do here is you could change your header on the slide that just says, proposed public comment at board meetings to be consistent, policy. So that way it's not like, it's a fait accompli. We just say, here's the proposed, the board has approved this. We want you to put it on your agenda like you're just saying.
right. We're good.
What do we, so,
So we're gonna show this, and then we're gonna say, this is, our proposed, and approved amendments to the, public comment.
But this is just our report. They're getting a separate.
They get to
direct
decide on their
email
own if they wanna turn it
with this
into an action item or not. That's not our job to suggest action items.
So what I think Jandy, what Bob is saying, so where it says public comment at board, at a board meeting, maybe do a hyphen and say proposal.
yeah,
So that way it doesn't look like, oh, this is,
Or proposed policy
forward.
revision.
okay, yeah.
so that way they know that
Okay.
in line with their.
They didn't lay out any procedures for doing any of the
Okay, so,
approving action items, so.
so now this causes me some confusion. Because we've gone over this policy and we've approved the changes by a vote of the board. So if we don't ask them to put it on their action item, how are we going to get the final approval of our approval?
Yeah.
So
That's up
that's
to
what
the
I'm trying to
city
get at.
council to decide that.
What's that?
That's up to the city council to decide that.
I
So-
think what Kim's trying to say is we don't know what the roadmap is.
Right.
And so the council needs to decide what the roadmap is. If we're saying, hey, put this on an action item, is that giving them
That's
the
giving them
roadmap? We just
No, I'm
don't
not
want
saying
to
that
that.
we don't tell them, we ask them, or we suggest to them that they could put this on their agenda as an action item for their approval.
Well, and maybe that's part of the presentation is that this is the proposed change that was approved by the library board. We now need approval.
But what Mark is saying is unless it's on the agenda as an action item, they can't vote on it in that meeting.
Well, no, but it notifies them that they need to do it for the next.
Right.
So use a parallel example. If you're, taking something maybe from the planning commission, if the planning commission makes a decision that, requires a vote by the city council, the, liaison for the planning commission, in that case, it would be Lisa Key, would put that item on the agenda, so that council could consider it. And I would expect for the same process to be in place here, where if the board of trustees is adopting, or recommending that the policy be adopted, that in order to be finalized, otherwise requires council approval, so Jandy would just need to put that on the agenda as an action item for them to consider. And you can brief that at the report, but the actual action item would be on the next agenda.
Yeah, right. And so it really is not up to them to make sure it's on there, it would be up to us or Jandy to put it on for the next action item. And at the following meeting.
Yeah.
Right. So not to get too, in the weeds of the rules of procedure, but, council doesn't set the agenda. I mean, they have influence obviously over, but the staff sets the agenda, for the council meeting. So in this case, it would be just a matter of placing that item on the agenda so that council could consider it.
Got it.
So I think my process will be, we'll present this at the meeting,
Right,
and then whatever guidance I get from them will be the next step. So if they say, yeah, put it on as an action item, I'll get that ready to go. If they, for some reason, go in a completely different direction, we'll do whatever that is.
Sure.
got it.
Wait, sorry, I just need something. So you said you're not, if they tell you, yes, put it on an action item, then you would. And then if they just don't bring it up, how do we know that we're?
Oh, I just mean if they
Oh.
came up with some other process that they're going to do, or what have
Well,
you.
I was just looking at the timeline, so that would, and then that would allow us, because we meet on April 10th. So then the council will meet on the 2nd. Because that would be on their action item for the agenda for the 2nd, right?
So the next meeting would be the 9th. They're bumping it for spring break.
Okay, so then we'll meet the next day to know.
What the course of action.
So what happens if they're not happy with the changes that we've made to the public?
Then we-
policy?
Well, then they'll send it back to us to review it. I mean, that's the procedure they set up when they made the new ordinance, that they would send it, that if they don't approve it, then it has to come back to us for our reconsideration.
I think if that happens, we'll deal with it then.
Yeah, when it happens, it happens. But I don't see this being that hard, that we go over this policy and the changes that we've made to it. And then we ask them for any comments, questions. And then at the end of that, we'll say, okay, then we will place this on the action item for the next meeting. And that would be easy.
As Mark has said, there's already a process in place for other committees or
Commissions.
commissions that do this. I'm assuming it'll follow that same process.
And then I have the, Master Gardener series, letting them know how the first two have gone and, what are the next ones that we have on the docket. And then, finally, what we're kind of working on right now and what we're gonna be working on, for the next couple months. So,
Jenny, is this gonna be the end of it?
yeah, this is the last.
Should I ask that you put on here something about the symphony and those things that are offered to the community? So I think that would be a really cool thing that they realize that the library offers to the people in our community. Mobius and do we still have Mobius tickets?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
and passes, I mean, and then the symphony tickets. I think that would be
Yes.
cool to put up there.
Sorry, I keep stopping the screen share just so I can like immediately make a note.
Got it.
Yeah, and we're gonna add to 2024 the uptick in participation and people coming. And then if we also put in, and reminder, because as much as we can publicize that as possible, there are theater tickets and
Yes.
symphony tickets and rodeo tickets and other resources that are available this year.
When is the last symphony that is available to our community? Jenny, I can't remember.
It's April 21st.
So it would fit for this particular.
Yes, so that's
Important.
also why. We had one just on Sunday, so the next one is April 21st.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, okay, sorry, I'm just making my notes.
Putting
so
that
I
work into that.
Okay. Yes, and so then the final thing will be letting them know that our RFP is gonna be posted, March 22nd. Looking for a project manager for the new library, and that we are also working on applying for the library capital improvements grant. That will be due it's April 5th, and we'll hear back, I think sometime in August or July. So letting them know that we are applying for that as well,
Good.
so.
Nate, are you, I think we talked about this briefly, but you have, support in writing that up, right, from, some people from the city are helping you, with that.
Yes, I do have a couple questions I wanted to get you guys' feedback on today.
Good.
After we go over the RFP.
Okay,
But yes, me and Michaela are working on that. Mark has been helping me with it, and Lisa from the city has been helping.
great.
So we're putting our best foot forward and hoping for the best. But I wouldn't say our application is a shoo-in just for some of the requirements that they have for being rural and distressed and that sort of thing. So it's one of those things where I want to tell them because we're working on it, but it's like, I can't tell you that it's a shoo-in because it's not.
Well, grants are never a shoo-in,
Yes,
ever.
yes.
No matter what the
That's-
criteria is, they're never a shoo-in.
Okay, yes. So let me pull up the RFP. So I've combined a draft that has all the changes that you guys sent me, so that we have it all in one document. Sorry, I'm like, I have 200 million windows open. I need to close some of them. Okay. So I sent this to you guys' inbox, so you'll have it as well. But this combined all of the changes that everyone sent me. Our process would be, once our draft is finalized on Tuesday, it has to be posted in the Spokane Valley Herald, I think it's called. So basically on Tuesday, I would send in our write-up, and then it gets posted in the newspaper on Friday, and that's when it will go live. So Lisa and her team are gonna help me navigate that process. Let's see. So, this introduction, we kind of messed around with the ordering of stuff. So just some of the paragraphs are moved around. Bob suggested that I put the address of Meadowwood Lane in there instead of just calling it Meadowwood Campus, because Meadowwood Campus is a completely different complex in Liberty Lane.
Well, that's true.
So I'm like, thank you. I updated all of the dates in the project schedule because they were not 2024 or 2025, 2026. We did a lot of Shauna went through and did so many formatting changes. No, it was amazing. Yes. One question.
The attorney and
It
for sure.
was. I'm like, that really doesn't matter.
And I was like, but Shauna, I copied and pasted it, so obviously it was perfect. One question that I had that I wanted to go through, that Shauna had pointed out is this letter of interest. And it says, the letter should be signed by the corporate executive with the authority to bind the firm. And she was asking of course, the perfect attorney term, should or must?
And that's a city question.
Yeah, who has to sign it?
Like, does the city require a corporate executive? It should, with authority to bind the firm, but.
Yeah, I mean, so we, through the letting, probably through the award process, we would know who that was. But for that particular language, I would leave should versus must.
Since we're not binding it yet, it's just a letter. This is just like the initial application.
It's the letter of interest.
Right, it's the letter, so
Keep it as should.
I would keep it as should, because there are some situations where using must, I think, puts us in a position where,
We have to verify or something.
no, I would just rather in that case use should, yeah.
Okay.
Because like I said, depending on the structure of the organization, if you have a huge firm, we're talking about the regional person versus the national person or something like that. That gives us a little more flexibility.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through to see what other questions that I had.
Yeah, I think there's still a, line break in there. There's like an empty page in the draft I have. It's just like a section break, I think. It's just.
So,
I think I fixed that as well.
Okay, you know what? I'm still in track changes. That's why I don't see it. Never mind.
Jandy, I think we had in there, did we put in there that the project manager is also involved in the selection of the construction group, or is that, am I inaccurate in that assessment?
Yeah, that's in the very beginning, section.
Got it. You
Let's
don't have to go
see.
back up.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I thought I read that. I just wanted.
In the selection of design, the city plans to retain a PM firm to assist in the selection of design professionals, specialty consultants, and contractors. Regarding the scope and budget of the project, communicate with city staff. So,
Yeah.
I think it's covered.
Got it.
Yes, so yeah, that's what our plan with the project manager is. They'll help us do all of the heavy lifting, with everything. Let's
I
see,
think section 7 is one of the next.
let's see, yes. So in this performance of services, I'm not a lawyer, so I didn't, so,
It's just a repeat, and again, it's probably marked, is this required to be in both places? So 7.2 has the designated with consultants as most highly valued by the city is not intended to be a guarantee that, you know, it'll be explicitly deformed. But then 2 paragraphs later, it said declaring a firm as the most highly qualified is not intended to be it's duplicative. It says it twice. I don't know if it's required to for some reason. And it might just be a copy and pasting from multiple documents that it's duplicative, but that's it, I think. As far as the city goes, what their requirements are for what needs to be in the writing.
Yeah, let's,
And then one says consultants, and that firm is used everywhere else, which is why I deleted consultants instead of the firm, so.
Yeah, we definitely want to be consistent in how we refer to the potential consultant, or whether we just say the firm or others we may be there. Let me take a look at the other issue, because I'm wanting to make sure that I'm considering the essence of your point. Let me read this a few times.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in there twice, it's not gonna hurt us, except if there's ambiguity because they're not worded the exact same. It's basically saying the same thing. We're not guaranteeing you work just because anybody responds, or even if it's a word, we're not guaranteeing all the works.
So I think what this is trying to say in combination of 7.2 and then the paragraph in 7.3 that I have highlighted is that whenever we actually make an award, that firm to whom the award goes will need to obtain a city business license. Through the scoring process And through the negotiation, it may be that the consensus highest qualified firm isn't the one that gets the award.
Mhm.
So I think it is,
No, it's just twice in there.
oh, you mean it's literally duplicated?
Yes.
Okay,
So if you look on the screen there, the red,
yes.
I deleted because in that highlighted paragraph in 7.3.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was
Exactly.
missing what, yes. It
Keep
doesn't
it in
need to
there,
be, yeah, it doesn't, no, it doesn't need to be duplicated, no, no.
And then it was the same in 7.4. It's in there twice. If, should the city and preferred firm fail in their negotiations, we'll move on to the next
Right.
one. So I deleted one. But for some, I know some if statute or RCW may state, you need to have this language in this section and this language in this section. So I don't know if it's stipulated that it has to be in multiple sections, so.
We can double check that with Sean, but I'm pretty sure that it was, that we just want you to get the point, right? So in that case, I would agree that it doesn't need to be duplicated, but we'll confirm.
Okay, let's see.
And I think that was it. I'm looking at your red lines and
Why are these ones still green? Do you know?
green needs a move. Or it's just, oh, it just needs to be.
Just renumbered?
Fact changes accepted.
Okay,
That's all. Yeah, it's just renumbered.
okay. Maybe I'm in the wrong.
Were you in the March 13th one? Yeah, if you just highlight that section and say accept, it'll just accept in that section.
Okay. I'll go through and see what I'm not clicking. And then the last major change that we made was in the very bottom under 9. It said no other contact with the City of Liberty Lake staff or council members is permitted, and we added Board of Trustees to both of those. So that's,
And that's really to avoid influence.
yeah.
Got it.
So,
And that generally is by statute.
Right.
so I don't know if you guys had any other feedback or changes.
We've done CTs.
Shauna, permitted is got an extra, it's missing a T.
Just said.
Bob and Kim are my
No,
Ellie.
you guys sounded at the same time, Bob.
When I taught fifth grade, I told them if they ever caught me making a spelling mistake on the board, they'd get a free pizza party. Oh, at the end of the year, I started making them on purpose to soothe them.
Are you paying attention?
Spelling to a teacher and she was not happy. I know teachers who are not good spellers. They're great teachers. I'm like, well, then don't ask me what I was talking about. You don't wanna know.
Well, this is exciting though, 'cause this is the start of the process.
Yeah.
To a new and improved library for our community, which is great.
So I
And our
have,
staff, of course, they'll have to be very excited. I remember opening up a couple of brand new schools. That was exciting and a lot of work, but it was exciting.
Good work.
Yeah. Anything else on the RFQ?
I don't have anything else on the RFQ. I will notify you guys when it's officially posted. I wanted a reminder on who's worked on grant applications before. Kim has. Have you Brad?
No, my wife does all that. She's very good at it. She's one
I've
of the.
sat on the board for a couple grant applications, so.
Okay,
But you know what, you're on the other end.
so
I hate to volunteer without asking.
Oh, no.
But I will.
No, I can help with grants.
Okay, I just have a couple questions on I want to bounce some ideas off of someone. So if so, I will reach out to you, with some questions that I have. Kind of, some of it's on like formatting something, and other stuff I'm just like, does this sound like I'm on the right track? I'm meeting with, Mark on Friday about some of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
And so,
And I have not worked on grants, but if you want another set of eyes, I'm happy to.
sounds great.
If you want proper information.
You want it formatted.
What a team we are, we have the complete package.
Formatting.
Got it all.
You know, there's software for that too. Spell checking, yeah.
When it's on pass, spell check doesn't.
I was gonna say, it didn't catch it.
Spell check
That's
doesn't catch that, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Shandy?
Sorry, I'm looking at the agenda because my brain doesn't remember anything anymore.
No, it's RFP and LSEP grant.
Okay,
You already went over the grant.
no, so I think that was everything.
Okay. No action items this month.
I will not be at the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll be in Spain for my 50th birthday.
Oh, wow.
Baby.
Spain. Ooh. Are you gonna go to any bullfight?
Yeah.
Are you practicing?
No, don't go to the ones in the small communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell my husband.
I saw a little one.
They learn English in
Oh, wow.
What is that?
I was gonna say, I saw a little video in Spain, in one of those small bull rings where the bull actually jumped over the barrier and was chasing people. I'm going, whoa. Yeah, nothing like being a participant in a bullfight unexpectedly.
I've not, neither of us.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that'll be
Thanks
fun.
so much.
That's cool. Very exciting.
I feel like April would be a good time of year, like it's not July with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before it really starts heating up.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Good. All right, so, our next meeting will be, what is that, April 10th? Is there anything in particular that, anybody would like to see on the agenda for the next meeting?
Just a second. I don't,
You might be out of time.
Bob, when are you coming home? Never? Can't hear you.
Oh, it just muted you.
Yeah, that was weird.
you know what, I'm going to, we're going
Yeah.
to see the Eclipse in Texas.
Oh, yeah, because that's April, right?
What's that, Bob?
I should be back by then unless you get snow in the first week in April.
Well, it's happened before, but I hope it doesn't happen this year.
Quick, have a forum.
Well, we will, if you're here, we'll have a forum, but we need three, so.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't need to physically be here.
No, as long as he, yeah,
Yeah, no, I should be there physically.
okay. All righty. That'd be good. So it looks like we can have a meeting. If there's anything that changes and we can't meet the quorum, I'll send something out and we'll,
And I'll try to check in, that's my travel day, I'll try to zoom in.
okay, great. Looks like we're all good. Anything else? Bob, you want to move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I second. We are adjourned.